So when I first started looking to add a CNC into my shop, I quickly started to realize through research that these things can do a ton of stuff, but they can only do what you tell it to do. Nothing more, nothing less. If it does something you didn't want it to, it's because you told it to do it. And if it doesn't do something you wanted it to, it's because you forgot to tell it to do it. So what ends up happening is, while you're running the machine, is you spend a lot of time standing around, staring at it, making sure there's no mistakes. And the mistakes lie with your programming. So you end up standing around the machine a lot, and frankly, it's a lot of standing around. And I don't like standing around, and I'm very busy, so I like to maximize my time and my space so that wherever I'm at, I can be doing multiple things. And with that, I came up with this idea to put my computer and a monitor near where I'm standing, which is my CNC machine. This allows me to do administrative work, respond to emails, work with clients, and I can get into my computer and work on designs in Fusion or in Aspire and plan out tool paths for future cuts, stuff like that. So it allows me to maximize my time. So what I did was I put my keyboard and mouse on a Woby Jig, and I made a little shelf for my computer to rest against my wall so that everything's really close by and I can work here. So I wanted to show you how I made this shelf. It's a very simple shelf, but there's a few cool things that I thought would be interesting for some, and I thought I'd make a quick video out of it, so check it out. As with mini shelves, there aren't many pieces to this, just 4. A platform, 2 brackets, and a backer. I wanted to scroll out the brackets on my bandsaw, and I wanted them to have the same exact profile. You could do just a square or a rectangle for these brackets, it really doesn't matter. I just wanted to give them a nice look. I've typically gone with like a triangle shape in the past, and I just wanted to add a little something to this one and make it a little bit lower profile. So what I did was find 2 pieces of scrap plywood, and I just taped them together, and once they were all taped together, I just took them over to the bandsaw, and I got to cutting out some random design. After cutting the pieces out on the bandsaw, I took them over to the edge sander and the spindle sander to clean up any bandsaw marks that were left behind. I grabbed a random piece of ply and started breaking it down to cut out the backer panel. I broke out my edge of bench match fit clamping system, and I use this basically anytime I'm using powered hand tools. And if you're interested in seeing how I made it, I'll put a link up in the corner here for that. But whenever I'm using powered hand tools, I break this out. It is just so handy, and I can hold down my workpieces while I'm working on them. For this, I'm going to be using my domino for the joinery, and this system is just killer for domino joinery. And as per FCC regulation, anytime a domino is used in a video online, it has to be mentioned that you don't have to use a domino for this. You can use anything. You could use rabbits, you could use dados, you could use dowels, you could use bubble gum. I don't really care what you use. Just make the thing. That's all that matters. After I got everything in clamps and before the glue was dry, I wiped it down with a wet rag. It was really easy to clean off because this plywood was pre-finished. The upside to the pre-finished ply was the glue cleanup was easy. The downside is that I had to be very careful when cutting off the excess dominoes. I'm a firm believer in reference cuts. Use reference cuts over measured cuts whenever you can. When you have a piece that you're trying to match the size of, use that piece to reference against to set your fence on your table saw. It makes things so much easier. Here I'm cutting down the platform that the computer will rest on to match the exact width of the shelf bracket I made. I took everything back over to my match fit workbench, and again I'm using exposed through dominoes for the joinery on this. I just really like how they look, especially on shop furniture, and I really like them on drawer boxes. I just think they're really modern and sleek, and they work really well. Here I'm measuring and marking up the spacing for the pre-drilled holes that the screws will go through to attach this to my wall. So obviously this is a very simple build. It's 4 pieces of wood knocked together, very simple. I hope that someone watching this gets something out of the build and sees that they can just knock it out of scraps too. They don't have to overthink it. It's just a simple shelf. Just put 4 pieces of wood together, attached to the wall, it's a shelf. And it does its job really well. It gets my computer out of the way. It puts it in a spot that is very beneficial to me because now I've got my little workstation put together and everything's in one localized spot. I really like to have homes for everything. I like everything to have a spot where it needs to go when I'm done using it. That motivates me more to clean up when I'm done. And cleaning up really helps me optimize my space. When it's clean in here and organized, when I come in the next day, I'm highly motivated and not encumbered by the burden of feeling like I need to clean up. I like starting my day fresh. Having a spot for everything really helps me do that. So I hope this shelf build helped you out or helped someone out. I hope it was fun at least to watch, and I hope you learned something. And I really appreciate you watching, and I'll talk to you soon.